Hello and welcome to the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast for July 10th, 2024, episode 224. Stand-up comedian, actor, and improviser Paul Green coming to you, sharing my journey as I strive to accomplish my dreams. Aren't dreams fun? Not always, actually. Sometimes dreams are some of the most grueling, difficult, challenging elements of your life. But I think that is, at least for me, what is fulfilling and gives meaning is the pursuit of something so beyond what I ever thought was possible for me. And there's probably a part of me that still doesn't believe it's possible. But there's a part of me that believe it does, or believe it is. I don't feel like I use proper grammar there. But there is a part of me that believes it is possible for me. There we go. And that's what I'm out here doing. And it's just been such a fascinating journey. And I gotta say, I never was a dreamer almost my entire life. I was never one that ever thought that my life could be something extraordinary or incredible. I don't know. For whatever reason, I spent most of my life just assuming that life kind of sucks, just take what I can get, and then complain about it. and complain that I didn't get a better lot in life. Like, everything is just one gigantic lottery ticket, and I didn't even get to choose the numbers. And whatever the lottery house hands me, that's my lot in life, and take it and smile. And I think that's why now, at this stage of my life, why I am such a rigorous believer in actually going for what you really want. I think probably the only thing harder than going for what you want is actually identifying what that is. And sort of an interesting paradox, because on the one hand, we are blessed to live at a time where there are more options available for more people than probably any other time in history. And this is not to discard the fact that I am very much aware that there are plenty of people alive right now who are tremendously limited in their options. And so please don't come at me for my white male privilege. I am very much aware that I am very privileged, for which I am incredibly grateful. And but that is not to say that there is so much resource and opportunity available in this day and age for probably a higher percentage of the human population than any other time. I mean, you just go back a couple hundred years. If you were in some, monarchy or whatever, there was no social mobility. There was no class mobility. There was no, I want to be something more than whatever my circumstances will allow. I mean, at least from my understanding of how history was. And I think what is so remarkable about being alive in this day and age is there is capacity to say, this is my life and this is my circumstances right now. I would prefer my life and my circumstances be different. And those shifts are very much possible. Not without some struggle, not without some sacrifice, not without some risk, not without a lot of bumps and bruises on the way. And I am not here to preach any sort of fast track to success or, any sort of shortcut. Matter of fact, I think I probably spent most of my life just wandering around looking for shortcuts. And then I just finally had to come to the realization of, well, yeah, these things are possible, but I don't think there's a shortcut to them. I think it's taken the long way. And that's probably because it's not actually the getting of the thing. I was just listening to comedian, I think his name is Jimmy Carr. He's the British guy who does a lot of one-liners, wears a suit and stuff. And I've seen some clips of him pop up on podcasts where he's kind of doing what I'm doing, talking about life, more of like a life coaching, a life type philosophy type podcasts. And that's what he was saying as well. He was saying there actually isn't any joy in getting the thing that you're seeking. The joy is not also struggling through the journey. The joy is who you become in the process. And I think there's a tremendous amount of truth to that. So whatever it is that I'm seeking as a comedian and a performer, and yes, I do have goals, financial goals and targets, and I think those are important. So at least you have an aim in front of you. But I don't actually feel that getting that financial goal is the end all be all. But it's the willingness to go pursue that thing, whatever that goal is, whatever that dream is, and the courage it takes to do that, and the discipline and the sacrifice and the willingness to step into the unknown constantly with very real risks. And there's all kinds of opportunity costs and sunk costs associated with going for a dream. I remember when I was first starting to contemplate moving to LA to pursue comedy and acting back in 2014, 2015, which, by the way, I never, ever, if you would have talked to me even a year before I did that I would be somebody who moved to LA to pursue an entertainment career like so many thousands and hundreds of thousands of hopefuls over the years. Never, ever would I have thought that would have been something that I would have done in my life. And I distinctly remember as I started to try to wrap my head around making that life change, my life was really, really good already. I loved so many elements out of my life. I loved the job I was working at. I loved the company. Matter of fact, it was because of that company that I was even able to move in the first place. They were tremendously influential in my life in so many positive ways. I loved my team. I loved my boss. I loved my bosses. My friend, I had so many close friends and family. I had lived in Arizona almost my entire life. I had almost like 25 years of friendships, and I had performance opportunities, and I was kind of hot stuff in a small market, and I would get recognized. I would go to the grocery store and people would be like, "Hey, I saw you at that Gestures performance the other night." I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm kind of famous." And yet, there was something inside me that said, maybe there's an opportunity to really go for something out in Los Angeles. And it was a huge opportunity cost. I knew that I was going to be sacrificing the opportunity to maybe, rise up the ranks of my corporate job, and and that I was going to be losing performance opportunities to go start over in LA where nobody would care about me. And I would just be one out of who knows how many hundreds, if not thousands, of stand-up comedians there are in Los Angeles. It was mind-boggling to me. Anytime I would go to an open mic, and these are crappy open mics. These are not, you're getting like 3 minutes of stage time at 1 a.m. at a bar and nobody's there, nobody's listening. Like those sort of opportunities. And there would be 30 comics all pining to get that 3-minute spot at 1 a.m. at the bar. And we're not even talking, the big clubs, Laugh Factory, Comedy Store, Hollywood Improv. And it was a huge risk, but I went and did it and had incredible experiences, had absolutely heart-wrenching experiences, take my kneecaps out for me experiences. And through it all, I grew so much as a performer, as an entertainer, and as a person. And so much so that by the time I came back to Arizona, I felt like a completely different person. And now in Arizona, I still have big dreams. The geography has changed, and the goal has narrowed a little bit and has gotten a little bit more focused most recently. But I am loving this ride. And teaming up with my buddy Josh and doing this 2-person comedy show has been so much fun and so challenging and so risky. I mean, I've taken shows that I could have done and gone by myself just as a stand-up comedian, and I've swapped out those shows to do a 2-person show with Josh. It's like I say sacrifice. It doesn't feel like a sacrifice. It feels like something else, but it's risks. It's a risk, to do that. And I'm stepping into an arena of becoming a show producer as opposed to just a performer, and trying to really understand marketing and promotion and how the hell to sell tickets en masse to strangers. It's scary, and it's new, and it is very risky, and I'm risking finances and putting money up and paying for advertising and not knowing if I'm going to get my money back. And so far, I haven't. And yet I'm still not done because I see the potential, and I look at it and I go, there's almost no business on the planet that makes money immediately. If they do, it's like a huge anomaly. And I'm not even worried about it. I just feel so passionate and fulfilled and excited to narrow this focus on this show. And it's just been a very tremendous experience, and who knows? I have no idea how it's going to turn out. I have no idea if we're ever going to figure it out, if we're ever going to be able to actually make money, if we're ever actually be able to turn the corner and go, oh my gosh, we can now book a show. We can sell 1,000 tickets to this show at $30, and we can pull in $30,000, and it costs us, 10 grand in marketing and, expenses and stuff, to make it all happen. I have no idea. I could be totally delusional on that. But man, does the journey just seem so exciting, and is so exciting and so fulfilling. And the people that I'm getting to work with and connect with, just incredible human beings who I just love working with. And it's all because I'm just trying to go for my dreams, as trite as it may sound, and as ineffective as I may have been in the past and still am at actually making them happen. Man, am I trying, and I am loving the pursuit. So, go for those dreams, everybody. What is it? What is it that just sounds cool? Can you dip your toe in it a little bit? Can you be a little calculated? I'm not a huge proponent of like, I'm going to sell everything I own, quit my steady job, and leave my family. Not so much that. Let's not be that person. But on the flip side of that is there something that just seems like it would be really cool to experience, and big or small? Or is there just something that is going on in your life that you're going, this isn't actually what I think I really want? And is it possible, just maybe, that if I change my focus with a little ambition, little focus, some hard work, that maybe something new could be a part of my reality? So, those are my thoughts today at the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast. Now, those of you who follow the podcast know I've been reading I've been listening to the 48 Laws of Success, and have just been absolutely mortified by these laws. And I don't like it at all. And so, sort of as a fun rebuttal, I'm going through each chapter talking about the law, talking about why I don't like it. And I can't even really say that I disagree with it. I don't know if I don't know, because I don't know if I have enough evidence to the contrary to say, like, well, nope. According to these numbers and this statistic and this blah, 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 blah. But there's just something in my gut that goes, I think there's a better way. And let's see, today's law, I think I'm on law 7 or maybe 6, was have other people do the work but take all the credit. Oh my gosh. These laws are just... shouldn't be the 48 laws of power. It should be like 48 laws of how to be a horrible human being. And if you do all these things, you will be a horrible human being, theoretically, with a lot of power. Although, man, I don't know. I don't know if that's true, because, are there examples? Yes. Are there men and women who rise to tremendous ranks of, political or professional business power and influence, and that they probably did so by being just completely soulless and shrewd and self-serving and ambitious and opportunistic, and wouldn't think twice about betraying their own friend in the back if it meant making an extra buck? Yeah, I do. So I guess it comes down to, well, what's your goal, though? If your goal is power, but you don't care about anything else or the people around you, or you want to spend the rest of your life looking behind your back because you left a trail of enemies who you betrayed or lied to or used or manipulated, I don't know. I say good luck to that. I mean, I've always tried, and I'm not saying I've done it perfect, to accomplish what I want with either A, bringing people along with me on the journey who want to be there, or getting what it is that I want without having to take it from somebody else. So, yeah, today's principle, have everybody else do the work, take all the credit. I absolutely despise that concept. I absolutely love giving people respect and gratitude and appreciation for anything that people do to help me out. Because it's extremely rare, at least in my experience, it's extremely rare to have another human being give a shit about you. I mean, it's not a given that just because you're there that anybody you meet or interact with gives a crap. And so when I have found people who do, I am so grateful. Sometimes shocked. Just like, what? Why does this person give a crap about me? And it's maybe even, common to maybe even be a little suspicious. Like, oh, well, they're only giving a crap about me because they're reading the 48 Laws of Power and they're just trying to befriend me so that they can make me do a bunch of work for them and then not give any credit, I mean, these laws are just so cynical and just paint such an absolute soulless picture of human beings. And again, that's not to say that there are not soulless human beings, but I don't think that just because that is the reality, that there are soulless beings out there, that means that the best way for you to show up in the world is by emulating the soulless. I've tried to do the opposite, and when I have been betrayed, I have tried my best. Again, I'm not trying to be all like, oh, look at me, I'm great. No, I'm not. I've effed up so many things in my life, made so many horrible mistakes, and I have been the jerk before. All right? I'm not batting 1,000 on human interactions. All right? Be the first to admit it. However, if I can give myself one virtue, it's that when I've been stabbed in the back, and trust me, I've been stabbed in the back by people who were claiming to be close to me. And sure, while I'm processing the pain and the shock of what happened and what they did, sure, do I have, fantasies of vengeance and revenge? Sure. But once I work through all that and I come through the other side, my thought is, that felt so painful, I wouldn't even wish it upon my enemies, not even those who just did it to me. And as long as I'm safe, this isn't justification to be a pushover or to be some sort of martyr. I don't believe in that either. I do believe, I'm totally fine if you need to go to war, you need to go to war. If you're in a situation to where that is the only, way to be safe again. And I get that, if you're in a divorce situation and you got an ex who's a psychopath and, and there is actually no way to establish peace or whatever, and you got to get a bulldog attorney and you got to go to war and you got to win. Sure. And I am not naive that those situations are not very much possible and happen. And unfortunately happen, and also unfortunately happen to good people. But so don't misunderstand that I'm preaching some sort of pacifist, allow yourself to get walked over and mistreated and abused. Not at all. Sometimes I got no problem putting my foot down and saying, absolutely not. No, I will not be treated that way. No, I'll be not spoken to that way. And no, I will not be threatened or, whatever it is. However, that does not mean that I then want to take the horrific behavior of other people to then justify me in turn behaving in like kind. If anything, I want to take it as an opportunity to show up completely different and see if that creates a better outcome for me. And I can just say, based off of how things have been going, that I am very grateful that at the times when I wanted to perhaps fight fire with fire and go after people who I felt deserved it, and maybe they did, that I went, this is my life, and every minute that I have on this planet, I'm getting so philosophical tonight. Jeez. That's what you're getting for episode 224. Usually I just talk about my day. So today I had a comedy show. I did some Facebook ads. I went to the store. I bought a loaf of bread. There's your podcast. Thanks for listening. I don't know. I became a New York mobster all of a sudden. But not episode 224. I'm getting very deep, very philosophical. But yeah, even that principle of have other people do the work and take all the credit. When I see that, I go, whoever it was that I got to do all the work and then didn't give them the credit for it would resent me. I mean, I would resent myself, first of all. I'm not, it's not like I don't do that because I'm going to get caught. I just go, that just seems, first of all, a horrible way to treat somebody. Secondly, if you do that to enough people, aren't you just going to build this reputation to where if enough people know that you are that shrewd and self-serving, I mean, enough people, they can take you down. They can take you down. I keep thinking of, I think this might have been Jordan Peterson who was talking about. I'm going to butcher the details, so don't go fact check me. Just go find the clip where he's talking about it, and you can get the actual story. But he was talking about some species of ape, and that it's not actually the most alpha, the most aggressive apes who become the leaders of the pack or whatever. Because if an ape is too aggressive and isn't good at socializing, and they get a little too selfish, they take a little bit more of the mating opportunities, or they take a little bit more of the food, or like whatever it is, then two smaller apes will just team up and rip them to threads. So not even from a moral standpoint, I really don't think this principle is pragmatic to delegate a bunch of work to other people, sit back and do nothing, and then when the results come in, take all the credit and let everybody know how great you were without giving credit where credit is due. I think that's a very bad idea. But evidently, it's a law of power. So if power is what you're going for, then by all means, best of luck to you, but please don't have anything to do with me. All right, everybody. Very philosophical Paul Green Comedy PaulCast for July 10th, 2024, episode 224. I love you all so much. Thank you for listening. I hope your dreams are coming true, that you're out there giving people credit where credit is due, and that through that you are finding fulfilling relationships that are meaningful to you, and people on your team and in your posse, in your corner, who are rooting for you, and they know that they're rooting for somebody who wouldn't sell them out. Oof, man. I feel very triggered by the 48 Laws of Success. I think that's a good thing that I'm reading it because, I've learned through so much therapy that anything that triggers me, it's because, there's something going on with me, and then I can figure out why I'm triggered and blah, 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 and then there's an opportunity for growth and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I'm acting like I'm making a mockery of therapy, which I'm not. I'm all for it. All right, everybody. Go after those dreams. I hope they're going well. I believe in you. I love you all so much. Thank you for listening, and I will talk to you tomorrow.